Let's camera action. So I left everything I knew to travel the world. And it was very exciting, but also very scary. And this is the greatest lesson that I learned from fully stepping into the unknown. At one point, it got to a point where anything that I knew from a past reality was just completely stripped. And I was fully traveling in new places, experiencing new things, meeting new people, and operating from a different level of energy and consciousness and frequency to where I had no basis of past understanding to compare it to. And this is how travel helped me become okay with embracing change and embracing kind of the waves and the cycles of life. So right now, I'm looking out at a beautiful panoramic mountain view. It's in a valley. There are mountains over there. There are clouds. There's blue sky. There's wind. There's snow. There's sunshine. There's a whole bunch of elements. And sometimes in our human day-to-day lives where we're trapped in these like boxes or offices, or we're sitting on a couch and we're watching TV on a square TV, and then we're scrolling on our phone on a rectangle, square-based shaped phone, and then we're driving on our box cars to go to the boxed offices and do the boxed lives, we can kind of start to forget that in nature, there are no straight lines. They're all curves, and they're all changing and evolving and flowing, and it's cyclical, and it's like a wave, and it's like the wind. And so from observing nature, from observing the four seasons, I started to learn and started to live in alignment with the seasons. I started to realize that winter is this time of rest and reflection and going within. And in the spring, I can kind of start to spring to life and plant some seeds and meet new people and connect new ideas and learn new skills and start to get out there. And in the summer, I can care for those seeds and I can water them and I can give them sunshine and I can really nurture them. And it's going to be hot and it's going to be sweaty, but I can still go to work on bringing those seeds to life. And then in the fall, that's when the harvest occurs. That's when finally all this effort, all this time that I've been putting in, I can start to reap and bring the fruits of those efforts and to life and pick the apples from the tree and look at all the beautiful sunflowers that I waited all year for to bloom. And thus the journey begins again. Then we go into another winter. And I really, really learned this lesson so strongly from watching nature, because I realized that as much as I would try to grip onto certain things in my life, whether that's being right or whether that's a certain job or a certain relationship or a certain place that I lived or a certain place that I identified as home, that attachment would bring me so much pain because I was trying to identify with it. I was trying to base my identity of who I am, Mahna, as that thing that I defined myself as. But then as I started to learn and as I started to grow and have these different experiences, and I would wake up one morning and I'd be in Bali, and the other day I'd be in South Africa, and then I'd be in Los Angeles, and I'd start to realize that, I don't think I can identify myself as a place anymore, as a person who lives in a place. And then I started to change jobs and change titles and change specialties within that job. And I started to realize, I don't think I can identify myself as this job title anymore. And then I started to meet different types of people, hang out in different groups. I would hang out with people who played volleyball, and I would hang out with people who go dancing at the club, and I would hang out with people who loved consciousness and spirituality, and then I would hang out with photographers, and then I would hang out with computer scientists, and I would hang out with DJs, all these different groups of people. And I would identify with them all. Then I started to realize, I can't identify as a type of person who does a thing. And so it started to make me think more and more that those things that I had defined myself as, like Mahna who lives in this place and does this job, I could no longer do. And so I started to kind of have this identity crisis, like, who is Mahna? Who am I? Who am I behind all of those titles and those kind of ways of defining myself in the world? And through my travels, as I started to go deeper and deeper and uncover more layers of myself, I started to learn that who I am goes so much deeper than what I was led to believe. And that is when I started to learn how to trust my body and trust my intuition and realize that I am a part of something so much greater than the here and now, than just this physical space reality that we can see and try to grip onto, because we can't. It's all just energy. We're all just energy, and we're all vibrating at different frequencies as part of the greater universe and as part of the greater whatever you choose to believe it. I believe it's universal consciousness, God, life force, energy. We are all a part of this magical essence that can create our life, that stems from just energy at a tiny, tiny level. So then I started to be like, okay, cool. I am energy. I am a part of it all. So what dictates then the moods in which I choose to show up with each day? And I started to study different books that were teaching me about, one, astrology, like the lunar cycle, the star cycles, the different cycles of the planets. And then also I started to study my female body and female cycles and the menstrual cycle. That's almost exactly 28 days, just like the lunar cycle. And I started to realize, maybe there's some truth to the astrology that's out there of the different planets aligning to different places in the sky and making different shifts and making me feel different things in my body. Because as I started to become more in tune with my body, I started to realize that I feel different ways in different times of the month. And I started to think, maybe there's some truth to this. And now I know for sure what my body's doing, what it's experiencing, what the emotions are. And from understanding my emotions and from understanding the cycles, I could start to not even identify with the emotions. Instead, go to the base, the root, the person inside the person, the core, the heart, and kind of choose how I want to show up in the world. And that all stemmed down to a place of love and light, and realizing that we are just all love and light. And we have that balance of both, but we can choose what we want to show up as and filter our different emotions and life experiences through. So that goes from what traveling taught me to who are we in a universal part of consciousness. But hopefully that opened up some doors that may be interesting for you as you go on your own travel journey, as you experience the waves and the cycles of life. And hopefully in your travels and in the changes that you experience, you start to see that change is actually a very welcome part of life, because it's the one thing that's natural is change. And hopefully you also eventually get to a place where you start to almost look forward to change and look forward to co-creating change in your life with your creator, or co-create with yourself and nature. And hopefully you start to have fun with that and realize that it's all a magical, amazing game. And thank you so much for being here. My name is Mahna Ghafori. If you haven't yet subscribed, be sure to subscribe. I'm currently creating a travel energy series called Mahna, the Energy Within, which is all about traveling to different energy centers all around the world and showcasing to the best of my ability that different places you can feel different things, and it comes from being in tune and being present and connecting to the earth and the people around you. So blessings to you. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you in the next video. Woo! The new chapter is here.
I'm so excited.